Welcome in again, ladies and gentlemen, to the R&D Report. As always, my name is Dishmond. I am joined once again by Rylee. Rylee, how's it going this evening?
Pretty good, man. Back at it.
All right, so we've got a few topics again this evening that we're going to do, and one big one that I noticed we missed, Rylee, on the first episode, and I really don't know how we missed it other than the fact that we just ran out of time.
Right.
Trying to keep these things around an hour, you can only talk about so many things sometimes. So,
exactly.
But it was the Royal Rumble. Now we both enjoy watching WWE on occasion, and especially around the Big Four, as the Royal Rumble is called. One of their Big Four pay-per-views. Now, what were your initial impressions of the Royal Rumble on Sunday?
I was really stoked that Shinsuke won. I was glad that he finally had something going for him. I'm excited to see him at WrestleMania. I think the match between him and AJ should be really good. Now,
we do have, though, a couple pay-per-views to get before then.
Oh, yeah.
But I was pleasantly surprised it got down there at the end with Roman Reigns and Shinsuke Nakamura.
I was really scared Roman was going to win.
I really was, too.
I was going to be disappointed, to be honest.
But I thought the pay-per-view as a whole was pretty good.
Oh, yeah, I would totally agree.
Obviously, for one like this, it is centered around the two main Royal Rumble matches as it was this past Sunday, with the first ever women's match being done. What did you think of the women's Royal Rumble?
I'm glad that they brought back a lot of older superstars. I'm glad that they did a lot of things with Asuka. I'm glad that she's going to be able to go to WrestleMania too. I'm glad the way that they're taking her and the way she's going, down her path. I'm glad she's finally, getting going, starting up her engine.
Now, did you think it was too predictable though?
Sort of, but not really.
All right, so as I said, just wanted to kind of hit that real quick to knock off that it's a big thing. The next big one coming up, obviously, is WrestleMania. And we'll talk about it a little bit when it gets here. But there was a lot that happened. Now, we're recording this on a Wednesday night.
Yeah.
And so on Tuesday night, there is a lot that happened in the world of sports. And I think one of the biggest things that happened, that I think happened, was James Harden's night last night.
Oh, yeah.
Being able to go a triple-double and to have the NBA's first ever 60-point triple-double. He goes for 60 points, 11 assists, and 10 rebounds. Now, he gets the 10th rebound in the end, and you see the video, and everybody kind of spaced out.
Right.
And it seems a little cheesy for to get that triple-double that way, but at the same time, if I was setting close to a triple-double, I would want people to vacate so I get that rebound too.
Right.
But what do you kind of think it says somewhat about the Rockets, though, that on a night where James Harden has 60 points and a triple-double, that they still struggled a little bit to get past the Orlando Magic? Right, I think the Magic are either the worst or second to worst team in the league.
Yeah. I feel like being the Magic, I feel like they could have blown them out of the water a lot more than they did. What did they lose by? It was 107 to 112, so 5 points. That's just...
Is that what the final score was?
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember what the final score was, but like 5 points to the Orlando Magic. Now, granted, it's the NBA, and there are no off nights, but still.
Well, you got to think, James Harden has 60 points, and yeah, Chris Paul was out, and who else was out? I think Ariza was still in, but either way, how can you get 60 points, right? 9 out of 30 field goals made, 5 out of, I think, 13.
19 out of 30.
19 out of 30?
Yeah, it was 19 out of 30 field goals made.
Yeah.
But, I mean, let's talk about that for just a second there. The efficiency at which, right, he's scoring, he takes only 30 attempts
Right.
and scores 60 points.
Yep.
Most of the time when you see something like that, you would see at least like 40 attempts. I think I saw a thing earlier today where Michael Jordan had scored right at like 64 points or something like that, but he took 49 shots to get to that 64. Now, Harden only took 30,
right,
and he was able to hit 19 of them. Now, granted, quite a few of them are going to be 3-point field goals, and that'll help increase your total, but still, that's an amazing stat on 19 of 30 shooting, right? I mean, you're talking he shot 63%.
right.
Whether it's two, and I think he actually shot 100% from the 2-point. And
most
of them I think were actually layups, so it's a little easier, but still, to not like even get one blocked and affect your efficiency.
And as a OKC fan, and I know that people love James Harden, and I know he was on OKC at one point, but I just can't stand the beard. I feel like him and Russ go at it way too much, and I'm a huge fan of Russ. And I feel like...
But just imagine what the Thunder would be, right? They would have been kind of the first big three if they had been able to keep Durant, Harden, and Russell Westbrook. Because, right, at one point they were all on a team,
right?
But it's kind of hard to keep all of them satisfied, right? All three of those guys seem to be ones that they want the ball in their hands.
Yeah, I as a I wouldn't say a hater of James Harden, but as a guy that's not a huge fan of him, I'm really disappointed in how his team is acting right now. I feel like they're being a bunch of babies with the way they're acting, and I feel like they're not doing so well as I thought they would.
Well, and I think that's somewhat to say that James Harden is still liked by other players around the league,
right?
But I think it kind of says you're not having Chris Paul. That it's still last year even it took a lot of effort on James Harden's part. Now he has a counterpart in Chris Paul who was out last night,
right?
But at the same time, right, being able to put up the 60 points is impressive on only 30 attempts. So that's impressive in and of itself.
Yeah.
But also yesterday on the NBA side, we saw it come out, and I don't remember who was first to report it. I know I saw it from Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN that John Wall was going to be out for approximately 2 months after needing a scope on his left knee. How big of a hit is that to the Wizards? And right, does it change their team at all?
Well, being an OKC fan, we lost. We lost to the Wizards, which without John Wall, you would think that it'd be easy. You got 3 All-Stars, and I know that Carmelo's not an All-Star this year, but I mean he was at one point. So with that being said, you got 3 All-Stars on one team and 0 on the other. How do you lose to that? Like, you got Russ, PG, Carmelo, and you lose to a team that doesn't have an All-Star on it? Really?
Well, I mean, the Wizards, you had a Bradley Beal go for like 23, 24, something like that. And you had Otto Porter Jr. going for 20, maybe 20-plus points. I don't remember exactly what his stat line was. But to have those two step up, I think, is something that, to keep the Wizards going, is something that's going to have to be there in the long run. If they, now I saw earlier, right, the estimated time for John Wall to be out is 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, that's ridiculous.
So you're talking, you're going to get past the All-Star break. Now, he's not going to be playing in the All-Star game, obviously, and because of that, Andre Drummond now gets the All-Star nod. Now,
let me ask you real quick. Do you think Andre Drummond was a good pick for the All-Stars, or do you think someone else could have?
Well, I think he was the one that was kind of next in line there in the East.
Right.
He was looked at by a bunch of people to be a snub for the All-Star game.
Right. What about DeAndre Jordan, though?
Well, for DeAndre Jordan, though, he'd be in the West, and even though they did this whole draft thing,
right?
I think because DeMarcus Cousins went out with that Achilles injury, he got replaced by Paul George,
Right.
which I thought fit well.
Yeah.
But then you have John Wall go out on the east side, and he's now going to take John Wall's spot on Team LeBron. So Team LeBron has now undergone 2 injuries right after he picked them. But now instead of DeMarcus Cousins and John Wall, you get Paul George and Andre Drummond.
Now let me ask you another question. Do you think that the All-Star team, LeBron, still has a chance of winning?
They have LeBron James and Kevin Durant.
Yeah, that's true. I just
and also Paul George now is going to come off the bench. I don't know how they're going to do that since DeMarcus Cousins was a starter. But, I mean, that's a lot of scoring power. And if you just talk about LeBron and Kevin Durant, granted the other side I think has Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, but
it's just not a big of a force. Yeah, I feel like...
well, I think the thing for Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, right, they're not as big and physical as like LeBron James, as big as Kevin Durant and as versatile as Kevin Durant is. So if I were putting my pick right today, I'm going to take Team LeBron. I think Team LeBron was even better constructed.
I'm going to go with you on that. I feel like Steph Curry has better shooters, but they don't have the strength and the build I don't know how to say it. I guess like the strength that Bron has, you know.
Well, yeah, I think the strength and experience for like Team LeBron, right? He originally has Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins in that lineup, and now I'll be interested to see how they're going to do that whole starter thing. Who's going to take DeMarcus Cousins' spot? You know, is it just going to be Paul George because he replaced him, or what? I don't think it's been said yet, but.
Do you think that there was a better center or power forward out there that could have? Now, I like DeAndre. That's not what Andre. But do you think that there was a better center out there that could have taken the place instead of him?
In the East, no, not so much. I think if we were probably looking at all-star votes, I would imagine Andre Drummond was just on the outside looking in. And when John Wall went down, that door was opened up so he could come inside.
Right.
And be a part of the All-Star game. And I know he I saw some things that he felt disrespected originally at not being in the All-Star game. And I get it, but at the same time, you know, you can only take
so many good players.
Right. And I also did, I don't know if you happen to see this, I saw this the other day, that they actually, for the All-Star game, they raised the winning bonus.
Like cash?
Yeah, like, so, it was, I think it was... 50,000, I think it might have been. It might have been like 75 if you won, if you were on the winning team,
right?
And 25,000 if you lost. So just because you made it to the All-Star game, you got $25,000. And you know, granted, I'd be on the All-Star game. Yeah. You know, I'd lose. I don't care. I'd ride the pine, but
right.
I'll bring you a cup of water if you want to give me that bonus. But
water boy up in this.
But when we're talking to that now for winners, it's $100,000,
right?
And for the losers, it's going to be $25,000. Do you think that's more of an incentive driven to be able to actually win?
I mean, with how much the players,
or do you think they even care?
I don't know. If it was me and I got paid, how much does LeBron get paid like a year? Isn't it like 34 something like that million?
Well, between his NBA contract and
all the
the endorsements that he does, it's probably an astronomical amount.
Well, still, like as him, like it's $25,000. Like,
well, I mean, but that's only for the losers,
right?
But who wants,
See, for $25,000, I would gladly lose.
Yeah, I mean, I'd go in there. I'll take my 5 fouls and be gone. But
right.
Also, yesterday on the injury front, right, Kevin Love goes down as we're talking here about LeBron.
Oh, what a great topic.
And the Cavaliers. But he goes down, broken left hand, and it's an injury he had before. I think it was like 2009.
And it was such a ridiculous injury. Like, I don't know if you saw the replay, but like he went to grab the ball, and it was like a
Pistons player just kind of hit him or something, wasn't it?
Well, no, the ball came at him and it like jammed his hand the wrong way, and it pretty much broke his hand.
And so he's also expected to be out 6 to 8 weeks.
Wait, I'm just like, really?
Which for the Cavs is kind of rough because it's hard to figure out an Isaiah Thomas who just returned, a month and a half ago?
Yeah.
Maybe even a month ago.
Right.
But you were just trying to figure that out, how Kevin Love fits in. Now, what you see, and I saw these stats, ESPN had them up earlier, and I saw the points actually offensive-wise go up when Kevin Love was out. And they were about, I think it was a plus 3.5 for the better when he was out of the game, when he was not on the court. But the key is that they were worse defensively when he was out of the game.
To be honest, I don't like Kevin Love being at the Cavs. I mean, I like the Cavs and I like LeBron. And I love Isaiah. I really do. I liked him when he was on the Celtics. But I think kind of one of the issues might be for the Cavs is that it's like a hodgepodge of players. Pretty much.
It doesn't seem to be a roster that's built toward any central idea.
Right.
Obviously, this year their issue has been defense.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does it say something about Kevin Love if they really struggle these next 6 to 8 weeks, or does it still just say more about the Cavs' issues?
I don't really know. I feel like I don't really think Kevin Love's a big deal for the Cavs. I don't know what you would think about that.
He brings the ability to space out.
No. He's a great player. I like Kevin Love. I loved him when he was on Minnesota. But when he went to the Cavs, I didn't really care for him much because I liked him when he was on Minnesota. I felt like he was that, LeBron of Minnesota,
Well, for Minnesota's sake, it was a little bit of a change.
Right.
But I don't know. I think he fits in well with the Cavs.
I do too, but I feel like he's not the best.
I think the problem is that he's better suited at the 4.
I would agree.
And for the Cavs this year, he's been playing at the 5. He's been having to play center, and I just don't think that fits for him.
No, I don't. I mean, I just you look at him as a power forward that can shoot threes, Dirk Nowitzki stuff.
But my biggest question is, where's Tristan Thompson gone?
Yeah,
he was such a big kind of role player last year,
and it was like Tristan Thompson this, Tristan Thompson that. Where is he at now?
Yeah, where did Tristan Thompson go?
Did he go to sleep?
It's like playing Where's Waldo with Tristan Thompson.
Exactly.
So, but it wasn't just injuries last night. Even though I think for the Cavaliers,
right?
It's if they do better, people are going to go, see, they don't need Kevin Love. See, this is why they should get rid of him.
Right. That gives them an excuse.
Well, and it does. And nearing the trade deadline, I don't think he'll get moved because I don't know if anybody's really going to want him.
Right.
But we are getting into a dicey area with this trade deadline upcoming. You have DeMarcus Cousins going down with an injury. John Wall goes down with an injury.
Even Blake Griffin. I mean, Blake Griffin recently got traded to the Pistons, and I'm just like, really?
But, yeah, so that last night, right, we get the Blake Griffin trade, and it's something that kind of comes out of nowhere because, right, they just signed him 5 months ago.
Right.
And he gets traded to the Detroit Pistons. Now, he didn't play last night when the Pistons played against the Cavaliers, obviously, because he still had a pending physical. But they did introduce him today. The Pistons sent Avery Bradley and Tobias Harris, and there was one other player. The Cavaliers ended up including a couple players along with Blake Griffin just to make everything mesh roster-wise. But I just don't know if this makes sense for the Pistons. I think it's a big gamble.
I feel like they're definitely taking a big risk.
Well, I mean, you look at a guy like Blake Griffin, though, and he's been often injured.
Yeah, and that's where the risk comes in. And I feel like I don't really know how to say it. Who do you think won the trade?
Who won the trade?
Yeah.
I don't know. I still think the Clippers might have won that trade.
I do too.
Because the back end of Blake Griffin's deal that he just signed, it was expensive. It had a pretty price tag on it.
Yeah, it did.
And they're able to clear up a little bit of cap space.
Right.
And they've got Jerry West now in there advising them on moves to make. And I think Doc Rivers said it wasn't a complete, rebuild, strip down. They're not going to implode the roster.
Right.
But at the same time, it's one of those things. I think the Clippers kind of won it because they saved money on Blake Griffin. They still have a guy in DeAndre Jordan, but they've cleared up some cap space for maybe this free agency period, but also maybe next year, 2019. You have Kawhi Leonard that can become available. You have Klay Thompson that's also probably going to become available. Whether either of them even think about leaving is a debate in and of itself. But at the same time, clearing that cap space, they're still in Los Angeles. They're still in that big market. They may not be the Lakers, but at the same time, a guy like Paul George who grew up in that area, and I believe it's been said that he grew up a Clippers fan.
Yeah.
If he's not completely happy in Oklahoma City, which obviously they want to try to keep him,
I want to keep him.
He could be on the move to the Clippers. But I think even though they just signed Blake Griffin, I think they kind of traded his cash away.
Yeah.
And said, this guy's hurt and has been hurt quite a bit. I don't think he's quite the same player. He's not jumping over cars anymore like he did in the slam dunk competition.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't think he's quite the same player. Now, he might fit in well in Detroit because he's not going to be kind of the focal superstar that the Clippers told him, right, that he was going to be. He was going to be their superstar and build around them.
Right, the main guy.
But, here in Detroit, you have Andre Drummond, and you have the ability to try and to use those two in an instance where, New Orleans was able to get DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis working. Now, this might be good enough to get the Pistons into the playoffs.
Right.
But I don't know. How far do you think they can actually go if they make it into the playoffs?
I don't know. Guess time will tell. I don't know. We'll just. It's hard to think about that, to be honest, because I don't know. I really hope Paul George doesn't leave, and I hope that everyone stays where they are. I don't really I feel like if we have one more year of OKC, I feel like we might actually have our groove next year.
Right. But I mean, not so much OKC, but the Pistons, right? Does this help them in their push, or?
I feel like they just need a really good point guard, and I feel like they'll be set. If Isaiah didn't want to stay at the Cavs, I feel like that would be a good spot for him.
Well, I think the other thing for the Pistons, though, is that Detroit's not exactly an ideal place to go.
Right.
And so to get a superstar like a Blake Griffin, you kind of have to trade for him.
Right.
Now, this entire time's been kind of crazy. But, LeBron also made comments on this Blake Griffin trade. He weighed in on his thoughts, and it was all kind of questioning the loyalty. And, he didn't seem happy with that Blake Griffin trade. But let me see if I can get his quotes pulled up here real quick. This is great radio, by the way. Great. They can, see exactly what I'm doing here. I probably should have this pulled up a little bit before, but, oh well. let's see. Here we go. He says when a player gets traded, it was doing what's best for the franchise. But when a player decides to leave, he's not loyal. He's a snake, right? And that's the end of LeBron's quote there.
Right.
But there's obviously a double standard, right?
Yeah.
And LeBron talks about this. He went through this himself, right? In the sense that, he's not loyal to the Cavs. He went to the Heat. And, he's been through this. Obviously, he's never been traded because who's going to trade LeBron off their team unless the Cavs actually thought he's not coming back next year, in which case they might trade him and say, hey, take a hike. We know you're not coming back, so we're going to try to get some assets for you.
Right.
But also the closer you get to somebody becoming a free agent, the more leverage you lose. And so I think for the Clippers, they still had great leverage here because they knew he was still going to kind of be a factor. He's a hotter commodity than if you let him get toward the end of this deal and then try to trade him.
Right.
When he still might have shown more injury proneness. Might have been out more than he already has been. But LeBron's comments, I think, kind of caught everybody somewhat off guard.
Yeah.
In the sense that, and we've seen this from LeBron that he's been a little bit more vocal about players' rights, equality, and it is a double standard.
Yeah.
If a player gets traded, it's best for the franchise. We're gonna do this, right?
Yeah.
That's how it all spouts off,
right?
And the Clippers obviously didn't show Blake Griffin a whole lot of loyalty.
No, not really.
They gave him this big contract and then said, ooh. They kind of got looking at it.
Yeah.
Now, probably for most teams, if the right price comes for the right person, then you're going to have to pack your bags.
Right.
Now, I did think it was funny, quite a few people, Giannis was one of them, that he told, when they asked him about what he thought about the Blake Griffin trade, he said, well, Blake better get a coat, right? He goes from sunny Los Angeles, nice, beautiful weather in Los Angeles to Detroit, right? Freezing cold.
Right.
And he will need that coat. So,
yeah, definitely.
But, it really is this double standard within them.
Right.
And I don't know if there's really anything you can do to fix it, right?
Yeah.
Because, Blake moves from Los Angeles now has to move to
Detroit. Do you think he even likes it there?
What, in Detroit?
Yeah,
he hasn't.
Well, no, not necessarily played, but do you think he was happy that he got traded?
I don't know. I wouldn't think. Obviously this contract, he doesn't really care.
Right.
But I don't think that it really would have mattered a whole lot. I think he was kind of happy in Los Angeles now. I believe it was Matt Barnes, but I'm not 100% sure.
Right.
So don't go quoting me that I said, it was Matt Barnes. But it was a former player, and I'm pretty sure it was Matt Barnes that said that the issue in Los Angeles is not the players. It's Doc Rivers.
Oh, yeah, I would agree.
You think it is Doc Rivers? A guy who coached the Celtics and, obviously he had at one point Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, and Kevin Garnett.
Right.
But even when he got to Los Angeles, was able to kind of make something happen there with Chris Paul and Blake Griffin and all that. But I think maybe the issue with Doc Rivers there in LA is the fact that at first he had all control, and it's hard to do that. A guy like Bill Belichick has the control and can do it, and somehow he seems to be this mastermind genius. And some coaches, I think, are better off just coaching.
Exactly. Do you think that, where do you think the LA Clippers are gonna, what path do you think they're heading down? You think they're gonna try to get young players like the Lakers, or you think that they're gonna try to get better players older-wise.
I don't think you can go older. I think we've kind of seen that. The Cavs seem to try to go older.
Yeah.
More experienced players, and I understand it. A guy like LeBron doesn't want to waste his time with a bunch of
Right.
Younger talent around him, but I think the Clippers are trying to do a hybrid of this.
Yeah.
To have young talent, but also keep the cap space clear enough where they can go after a Paul George, and they can go, after a Kawhi Leonard or a Klay Thompson the following year. Reports came out last night that, the Clippers could be a destination for LeBron, and then quickly within a few hours that kind of got shut down.
Right.
But I think it also has to deal with, we'll have to see once the trade deadline ends. I think it's next week. When the trade deadline ends, where does the dust settle? Do the Clippers deal anybody else? Do they deal a DeAndre Jordan? Do they try to get rid of a Lou Williams and get some other players in there? Do they even turn and flip Avery Bradley, who they just got from the Pistons?
Right. I feel like they're gonna trade DeAndre for someone better, but the question is who? And I feel
but someone better.
Well, I mean DeAndre's good. I just feel like if you traded him and you got maybe a point guard and a small forward, I feel like that would be enough to the point to where you could go just off of that for one season.
I mean, the Clippers aren't going to do that. They're trying to turn, if they would turn a DeAndre Jordan, they're going to try to turn it into young players.
True.
And picks. We saw that even with the Blake Griffin trade, right? Some picks involved as well.
Right.
But with all of that, right, you have not only action in the NBA last night, as far as a trade happening, injuries occurring, but also you have an interesting trade that has happened in the NFL. Now it's not been official, right? It's not been made official that because of the league year not starting until March 14th, but you have Alex Smith of the Kansas City Chiefs, right, traded to the Washington Redskins, and I know a cornerback whose name is escaping me at the moment, but traded for him, and I think it was a third-round pick. Now the cornerback is somebody that the Chiefs coveted, but what's this say? Right, this obviously ends the Kirk Cousins era in Washington, right?
Right.
So the question now is going to become, where does Kirk Cousins go? You have some needs at some other teams around the league. It could be the Broncos. Could be the Browns.
I was gonna say, what about the Browns? I feel like
they are struggling. But if you're a guy like Kirk Cousins, do you want to go to the Browns?
Not
the
really.
Lowly Browns, right? Who apparently also tried to make an attempt at Alex Smith.
Yes, I did hear that too.
But if you're a guy like Kirk Cousins, unless the Browns are just gonna just throw a crap ton of money at you,
right?
I don't think you go there.
No.
They have some young players, but it's also the Browns, and that's famously the place where QBs go to die, right? And does he pull a flip and go to Kansas City? I don't think so, because they have a rookie quarterback. But I think the Broncos might be the leading candidate. They're a team that's close to playoff contention, and with a quarterback, that might be able to fix kind of some of their woes, especially that they had this year, was quarterback play.
All right. Well, I feel like for him, the Broncos would be good. I can't remember their wide receivers, but I feel like what was it? His name's escaping me. But
Demaryius Thomas? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, that's it. Thank you. I feel like him and Kirk will do really good together, and I feel like with the wide receivers that they have, I feel like he's got a really good chance of making it big there.
Yeah, I mean, I know I saw a thing from Von Miller saying, "Hey, he's what we need to be able to get over the hump."
Oh yeah,
and tend to agree with Von Miller. But he could also go to like the Jags, who say they're committed to Blake Bortles, but who really knows it? It's
Well, I mean, after who they lose to, I can't.
the Jags.
Yeah,
The Patriots.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I feel like Jags wise, I feel like Blake Bortles kind of let them down. Does that make sense? Like, you get them so far, and then it's kind of like meh. But when you face Tom Brady, I mean, it's kind of hard to get let down.
Well, but at the same time, like I think the reason that the Jags lost that AFC Championship game was because the offense couldn't be as prolific as they needed it to be. Now the defense did all it could, but at the same time, like there's only so long that you can hold the floodwaters that are Tom Brady and that New England offense back.
Right.
Yeah, there's only so long you can defend it against it, and do it. To be able to actually hold tight against it for so long. At some point you start. Like a flood wall does sometimes. It starts to have a leak here and there, and that leak just grows.
Right, and it just lets loose.
Well, and I think that's what the Jags' issue was in the AFC Championship, is that their offense just was meh.
Right.
It just wasn't very good, so.
I do feel like if they get rid of Blake, I feel like it would be a good spot for Kirk.
Well, I don't even think they have to get rid of Blake Bortles.
No.
Because they said they were committed to him. Now, how committed? Right, we thought the Clippers were committed to Blake Griffin, and we see that could change in an instant. Maybe the Browns offer them some picks, and they say, "Hey, Blake Bortles, you're going to Cleveland." But I think the Broncos might be the best landing spot for him. I mean,
agree.
a team like the Arizona Cardinals could probably also be another destination for him.
Yeah.
You have, the Jets could be another.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
But
That's
I think
spot.
if you're Kirk Cousins and you want to go to a place to win, you go to the Broncos.
Well, especially with all the players that they got. I mean.
Well, and that defense is pretty good too.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's not so focused on you. But if you want to get your payday, I think you go to the Broncos.
Especially with how good he is, I feel like he would be a great fit there. Like, really good.
Well, and I think it is something that the Broncos offense was missing this past season.
Yeah, I can totally agree with that.
So, we'll just have to wait and see. The new league year officially doesn't start till March 14th.
Okay. So,
this Alex Smith trade, and then even at that, and why we say kind of Kirk Cousins is already pretty much being pushed out the door, is because the reports are that he's already agreed to a 4-year deal. Now, none of this can be official until March the 14th, but you can kind of get close to that, right? Yeah, everything's in writing. Everything's kind of a handshake agreement.
Exactly.
And when March 14th rolls around, this can all be finalized with the NFL offices. But in case you are living under a rock, though, this upcoming Sunday, right, we have a big matchup coming, right? The biggest game of the NFL season is happening this weekend, and it is between the Philadelphia Eagles and the New Orleans. Oh my goodness! Wow, I guess I got thinking about the Pelicans, the New England Patriots. Sorry about that. But we have a matchup here, right? And who would ever thought that Nick Foles, right, would be able to lead the Eagles to the promised land here, right? To getting back to the Super Bowl. Now, the last time these two matched up, right, the Patriots obviously won.
Right.
But first off, do we think this is actually going to be a very competitive game, or do we think it's a blowout?
Like the way that the Philadelphia Eagles played this year, I feel like we will have a good match, but at the same time, with how the Patriots played, I feel like it's going to be a blowout. But I'm not a huge fan of Tom, so I'm not really sure about that.
Oh, I will fully admit I am a Tom Brady hater. But at the same time, right, you have to kind of respect what he's been able to do over his career.
Oh yeah, I mean he's
and
a great player.
even in that last game, right, having even a cut on your hand at all, your throwing hand at that, to be able to play as well as he did, I think speaks volumes for him. But Nick Foles has the highest QBR in the playoffs right now. When you started the season, you thought Carson Wentz was the guy, and he did great.
Right.
But Nick Foles has proved to be a serviceable backup to Nick Foles and to be able to win these games. But I think for the Eagles, more than their offense, even though they just blew Minnesota out of the water, which I don't know if anybody really saw that coming with Minnesota's defense.
No, I love the Vikings. I was really hoping they'd go to the Super Bowl or the big game, but it just didn't work.
But I think it'll be a matchup of Philadelphia's defense and a matchup to see if the Patriots' offense can get moving here in the Super Bowl come Sunday. But it's really going to be because I think the Patriots' defense can also play well, but I think it's going to be whose offense kind of performs better.
Yeah.
Who gets more maybe out of the running game it might be. But I think it'll be a back and forth game. I think we'll get a very competitive game.
Now, do you think it's going to be like last year's where the Eagles get up real high and score?
Oh, like the Falcons did last year?
Yeah. And then he comes back and pretty much destroys them.
Oh, if the Eagles get up, I'll think no doubt that Tom Brady's going to come back and do this all again because he's Tom Brady, and that's what makes people hate him.
Exactly. It's like, yeah, I'll let you have a little bit of fun. Nope.
But we have this matchup going on Sunday, and I think it'll be a good one. Also, let's be honest, I'm excited for the halftime show.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see Justin Timberlake and to see what exactly he's going to bring to the halftime show.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's supposed to be all about the football, but this is supposed to be, the R&D Sports Report, and who cares? It's Justin Timberlake, man.
Right,
come
exactly.
on. So,
come on. Man.
Hey, you can't be so centered around that, but
that's just part of the game, though.
Well, I think that's what brings the mystique. It's kind of like the commercials, right? Everybody's so excited to see the commercials, even some of them just suck sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's always excited to see them. But before we go into kind of our predictions and how we feel about the game, right, the spread, right, between these two, and it came the Patriots being favored by 4.5 originally, which they're favored 4.5 now. Sorry, it was originally 5.5 point favorite.
Right.
So, what Vegas is saying here is that the Patriots should be able to win by 5.5 points. And so, do we think it comes down to maybe a last minute field goal?
No,
or do you think it's over with 2 minutes to go?
I want to say it's over with 2 minutes to go because I feel like I'm gonna make my score predictions now. I think it's gonna be 42-24.
Oh, you have a high scoring game then.
Yeah, but the Patriots win.
Now, does that change anywhere with the over-under odds that Vegas is giving at 48? Right, so both teams combine to score over or under 48 points. Now, with your prediction, we go way over.
Oh, yeah. I think with Tom Brady doing as good as he is, I feel like he's got a really good chance to just blow him out, to be honest.
I don't know if the Eagles' defense gives up that many points. Right, and I think that's going to be probably the battle to watch. Obviously, all night is Tom Brady versus the Eagles' defense.
Right. Even with Gronk, I feel like that could be a really high-scoring game.
Well, and Gronk says he's going to play on Sunday, but hasn't I don't think officially been ruled in after the concussion he suffered.
Yeah.
But with that extra week in between that the Pro Bowl was on, I think there's probably no doubt that Gronk actually plays in the game. And he probably will do pretty well. I mean, he's Gronk, and he's hard to stop.
Now, I'm not a huge fan of the Patriots, but I love Gronk. I really do.
I think I just like more the energy he brings.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
You know, he's a great player, but I think it's more about the energy he brings to the game when he's in there.
Yeah.
But we've also been able to, right, the Patriots were able to win the Super Bowl last year without having Gronk in.
So, do you think that it will be easier or harder to get more points with or without him?
It makes it easier with Gronk in there to score more points, right? He opens up the field a little more. He opens up the middle. If he runs a route over the middle, he opens up the outside for the other receivers. He's just another person that you have to pay attention to. So, you know, with that being said, over under at 48, I don't know. I might be inclined to try to go for the under there, because I think it's going to be a lower scoring game, and I think with a couple minutes left, or maybe even, let's say 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, I think we're going to be tied, maybe going into it. Maybe a field goal is different at most, I would think.
So what are your score predictions?
I'm going to go... See, this is where I kind of come into a difficult part, because I don't want to pick the Patriots.
Yeah.
Just because I don't want them to win. I'd really see the Eagles win, but at the same time, like I would feel bad for a guy like Carson Wentz who played his guts out all season long to then only have kind of been replaced and maybe forgotten somewhat.
Right.
With Nick Foles being able to perform so well. But I'm going to go 24-21 Patriots, unfortunately.
I could
This is
see that happening.
This is one I'm happy to be wrong on. Right? I'm happy to be wrong on my prediction that the Patriots win. Right? When you and I talked, I thought that last week West Virginia would beat Kentucky.
Right.
But as a Kentucky fan, it was one that I was happy to be wrong about.
Right.
But
and don't get me wrong here. I want the Eagles to win. I just think the
people
Patriots
outside
are
out of Massachusetts want the Eagles to win.
Right.
Right? Because we have such disdain for the Patriots and you know, the hoodie and Tom Brady, right? You know, some people hate Tom Brady because he's too good and he's too good looking, which is
kind of ridiculous, to be honest.
Well,
I'm like,
it
really?
is, but at the same time, when you think about it, it's like,
yeah,
you know, why is he able to be so good and good looking at the same time, right?
I mean, come on now, he's got millions. I mean,
but
he's won like four Super Bowls.
5, I believe it is. I think this is quest for number 6.
Oh, well. Either way, he's got a lot of money. So I mean, but
this is his 7th to be participating in. So he's on that quest for number 6. He needs another one for that other hand, right? He's got one for each digit on one of his hands, and he's looking for another one. But I think for the Eagles, I don't know if I thought they would actually be here this year. But I think it is amazing that they are here, and I want to pull for them. But unfortunately, with the track record of Belichick and Tom Brady, it's one of those, like, how can you bet against them? Like, you're going to tell me with 2 minutes to go in the game, if the game is tied 21-21 and the Patriots have the ball, that you don't think they're going down and scoring anymore?
Oh, man. I don't even want to think about it because it gets me, I wouldn't say angry, but, like, riled up because I don't really want the Patriots to win.
No, but their offense is also probably with Tom Brady. Obviously, there's a difference between Tom Brady and Nick Foles.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, right there, you would have better confidence that the Patriots could go down and score in 2 minutes than probably the Eagles could.
Yeah.
But you know, if it's 21-21 and the Eagles are driving with 2 minutes left, I'm cheering my butt off for the Eagles to score.
Oh, yeah.
Just because I am a Patriots hater, right? As a Colts fan myself, I don't want to see the Patriots. I get tired of seeing them there.
Yeah, me too. I mean, that's the same with like NBA finals. I mean, it's the same everywhere. I just want to see different
Well, and
teams.
that's the thing. Like, yeah, we get tired, right? We've seen the Warriors and the Celtics for 3 years,
right?
Or not the Celtics, the Cavaliers.
Cavs.
I'm thinking the Celtics get to the finals this year.
I was like, Celtics, what?
But even with the Warriors, like nobody wants to, like, unless you're really a Warriors fan, everybody's kind of like, I'm tired of this, right? Kind of like everybody's like, I'm tired of seeing the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
I mean, that's like playing a NBA game on a PlayStation when you're in that game mode where you can draft people, trade people, and pretty much you're the GM. And when you have Steph Curry, KD, and Klay Thompson, Iguodala, and who else? I can't remember. But either
Kevin
way,
Durant, you kind of missed him.
I said KD.
Did you say KD?
Yeah, I said KD.
I didn't hear you say. Oh, Draymond. Maybe that's the one you missed.
Draymond. There you go. But once you win 3 finals, it's like kind of bored now. Let's get some young people, see how they do.
Well, it's one of those. It's like, well, let's see another team in there.
Exactly.
But and who knows? This could be one of the last ones for the Patriots. There's thought to lose both their offensive and defensive coordinators. Right, the offensive coordinator's going to the Colts, and defensive coordinator Matt Patricia is thought to go to the Lions. So we will see. How much of this is Bill Belichick, or did he just find the right assistants?
Right.
Right, the right coordinators to fit what he wanted to do, and we'll see next year.
Do you think that's like what? If I was a defensive coordinator and I was in 4 Super Bowls now, I mean, like, come on, why would you want to leave, especially when you're getting paid that much?
Well, I mean, if you've had aspirations to be a head coach, you'd want to leave.
True, I mean, I can see that.
But see, here's also the thing: Josh McDaniels, right? He leaves the Patriots, goes to Denver for a season and a half,
yeah,
and then he ends up back with the Patriots. Well, now the second job, he can be a little pickier, right? And in the sense, you wouldn't want to go to a team that doesn't have a good quarterback or even a great quarterback. You want to go to the team that you thought would have the best opportunity with the players that are in place.
Yeah.
He goes to. It's reported that he's going to Indianapolis as soon as the Super Bowl is over, and he's got a guy in Andrew Luck. Now we'll see how Andrew Luck recovers.
I'm done with Andrew. I really am, and I've always loved Andrew, but at the same time, I feel like every time I look at him, he's hurt.
Well, that probably speaks more.
It could be
but
the
I think that speaks more to how the Colts are set up. Right? I don't
agree.
think Ryan Grigson did a great job, obviously setting them up, and I think the problem is he kind of gets injured because it's.
You think it's
like
the O-line?
Well, I think that's part of the issue, but I mean it's like a Tim Couch issue, right? Tim Couch coming to the Browns as the number 1 overall pick after they become another expansion team after their Browns left for Baltimore. But then they get a guy like Tim Couch, and it's hard to stay healthy when you're always on your back.
Right.
Right? And so that's kind of what hurt him is injuries along the way, and, he was constantly taking hits because he couldn't be protected, and a guy like Andrew Luck had some of the same issues.
Right.
Now, I think the Patriots will look a lot different next year with losing 2 coordinators because you may have different philosophies. Now, I don't think Bill Belichick is probably at a loss for words. He probably, just from, it's some kind of comment that you'd want to add him. Oh, he's been great, and I wish he's done the best.
Did you see the comment that he made when someone asked him about, are you excited to be in the Super Bowl? Did you see that? He was like, it's just in Minnesota. That's it. I was like, really?
When they asked him what makes this one different, this Super Bowl, he goes, it's in Minnesota.
Right. I'm like,
thanks for the audio there, buddy. That's a great question to ask. That's a good way to make a reporter feel dumb.
Not only that, but I feel like when you're the coach of 5 Super Bowls, I mean, come on. I mean, you actually have the right to be cocky.
But here's the funny thing. Think of this. Cleveland had Bill Belichick at one point.
The Browns?
Cleveland Browns had Bill Belichick and Nick Saban on their staff at one point.
Huh.
Well, look at what those guys are doing now, and don't the Browns look dumb?
Yeah, it's like a trash can on fire.
It is. Which once again, why would Kirk Cousins want to go there?
Right.
But all right, so you are taking the Patriots in the Super Bowl, right?
Yep.
And your score was
48 and I think it was.
Was it 48-21?
No, it was 24.
48-24. All right, so you got the Patriots doubling up the Eagles. I'm going to go 24-21 Patriots, even though I really want it to be 24-21 Eagles.
Right.
I don't even care if it's a blowout. As long as I don't see a glimmer of hope in the Patriots like I did last year with the Falcons. Sorry, Matt Ryan. But I'd love to see a blowout in the Eagles' favor.
I would love someone else to win, but with the way the Patriots are playing, it's kind of hopeless.
It's hard when you have possibly the all-time great QB and Tom Brady and one of the best coaches ever in Bill Belichick, right? In a system that they've been in together for years, to dethrone that. So it'll be interesting to see, and I look forward to discussing this again come Monday. But if you've enjoyed any of this, and I saved this for the end, if you've listened this far, you might as well go ahead and help us out. And go ahead and hit the subscribe button.
Give us a 5-star rating.
Oh, easily. I think we're worth 5 stars,
Come on now.
Give us a 5-star rating and a review. That's just a way that you can help us out to continue this, to know that people are liking this and being engaged with it. And we hope to be able to get some of those to start coming in. Now, if you want to communicate with us, in these past couple days we have been able to set up a couple different things. We have our Twitter page, right? We have our thing on Twitter is R&D Sports Report. Now you can hit us up on Twitter at R&D Sports Report. We are also on Facebook. You can go facebook.com/RD Sports Report. And you can find us podcast-wise on Spreaker, iTunes, and also Stitcher. Hit us up on one of the social medias on Facebook or Twitter and let us know if there's another one that you'd like us to put this on. We're looking to expand this brand and to continue to go. But remember, subscribe, 5-star, leave us a review if you've liked this at all. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening. This has been another episode of the R&D Sports Report.
We'll be right back.